We do not expect the releases of radioactive material that have occurred in Japan to have any effect on the health and safety of the U.S. population. At this time, it's our assessment that it's likely that Units 1, 2, and 3 have experienced some degree of core damage. Today, all 3 units appear to be in a stable condition, with seawater injection being used to keep the reactors cool. In my view, the fact that off-site power is close to being available for use of plant equipment is perhaps the first optimistic sign that we've had that things could be turning around. We believe that the spent fuel pools on Units 3 and 4, which had been 2 components that were of significant safety concern, that the situation there is stabilizing, that the containment in all 3 units, 1, 2, and 3, appear to be functional, and that there's water being injected into the reactor vessels in Units 1, 2, and 3. So I would say optimistically, things appear to be on the verge of stabilizing.
As you mentioned, the damage in Fukushima was not really caused by the earthquake. It was a tsunami that came afterwards. So the question now is, when we license our plants here, are we considering this 1-2 punch? Are we considering an earthquake followed by a tsunami as appropriate, or a major fire, or a flood because tanks holding water fail? Because this secondary event seems to be now very important, and we have to account for it. So how are we approaching this issue in the United States?
Well, the design basis includes many different analyses. I would just say one thing about the earthquake in Japan. We don't know what the impacts of the earthquake are inside of the reactor building specifically. That's where most of the equipment of interest to us would be located. It may have survived perfectly well and stayed perfectly functional, or there may be damage that we just don't know about. So we need to see what the inspection results are once they have access to the plant. But our reviews for the U.S. include, it's always very site-specific. So for earthquakes, if you're in a very soft soil environment, there's not a very challenging review that's required, or analysis that's required on earthquakes. But it might be that you need a storm surge for a hurricane or a storm surge for a tsunami. But there aren't multiple, you don't take every possible occurrence event and pile them all together into one event. So it's done more on a event-by-event basis.